And welcome everybody. What is round 19? USA Formula One 2019 World Championship. And this week, a small miracle happened, I would say. Small miracle. Lewis Hamilton became 6 times, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights out, 6 times world champion. Only the second man to do this in history. That is some feat. And I don't think it's because he's black. I'll be honest with you, Fabio. I
Oh,
don't think it's for that.
really?
That's a callback to a joke that Lewis made about stewards a long time ago. But nonetheless, it just goes to show what a superb driver he is. I don't think anyone can take that away from him. He's been heaped with praise. The great Sterling Moss said after seeing Lewis's first race, he's never seen a talent like that in Formula One since he's been in it, and that's 1950. So fantastic. I mean, the guy deserves it. He's in the best team. He's in the best team because he's the best driver, and he's the best driver because he's in the best team.
Yeah,
That's not circular. That's
that
not
makes sense.
circular.
Yeah.
It's not a circular argument, right? I mean, I'm
No, no,
not
no.
saying that Lewis Hamilton is God, but I've got a similar argument, right? Lewis is in fact a godlike driver, therefore he is God.
Right.
I think it's straightforward,
Um,
and I'm hoping, obviously, that he'll go on to many more. But there we are.
I can't see any problem with that logic. I mean, it's
Absolutely,
it's pretty much bulletproof.
yeah,
He he,
absolutely. Go
he
ahead.
raced a kind of a shitty race, though, right?
Oh well, shitty for God, yeah, but obviously, obviously that's brilliant for anybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, God could be shitty, right? But that doesn't mean anything about being shitty. Obviously, we know that from
Well,
objective morals.
considering that Bottas won the race, that makes him kind of a shitty god.
Well, no, I don't think that's right because obviously he didn't want to win the race.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah. No, okay, okay. Yeah, I missed
Yeah,
that part.
yeah,
Yeah,
he didn't want to win the race.
I missed the part when it was whinging and
See,
moaning.
no,
Yeah.
no, no, no,
Okay, no. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
no,
No,
no, no,
sorry,
no,
sorry
no,
about that.
no.
Yeah.
Mercedes, right, is like the Holy Ghost,
Mm-hmm.
right? Bottas is like Jesus, and Lewis Hamilton is like God, right? It's the Trinity, right?
Yeah.
Well, what can I say? They're all the same. And if Lewis wins, that's because he's God. If Valtteri wins, that's because he's God's son, Lewis. And
I
if either of them win, it's because they're in a Mercedes.
I was thinking more that the only Trinity should have been, Lewis, Mercedes, and Toto Wolff, and Valtteri Bottas was kind of a Saint Joseph, the guy
Yeah.
we got the wife screwed by another guy, and she told him, you know what? I've had a vision, and now I'm pregnant. Must be a
Yeah.
miracle. Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, I
I
get
think
it.
you're probably right. I think you're probably right.
Mm.
Maybe it was Aquinas or someone. I don't know. Actually, and when I think about it, the Holy Spirit is probably Nicky Lauda. Yeah, so there you
Yeah.
go.
Okay.
Anyway,
Wow.
enough of those jokes. Right, there we go.
Yeah.
Moving on. It was the
Moving on.
USA Grand Prix. Valtteri got pole position, a superb drive for pole position, and then I can't remember. Maybe it was a Ferrari or two. Then possibly a Red Bull, and then another Ferrari,
Yeah.
and then Lewis. So Lewis from 5th place, he managed to win 6 World Championship titles. Can I say that again? Because I'm so impressed. And Valtteri went from 1st place to 1st place. So well done, Valtteri. Pretty typical for this circuit. And Lewis went from 5th place to 2nd place. And Verstappen went from 3rd place to 3rd place, maybe, or 4th place to 3rd place.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
I'm sorry for you because me too, because we both liked that circuit, but it was kind of a dull race. If you scrap probably Verstappen, we did something good. Ricciardo made a very nice race, but most of it was kind of not really that exciting, which is a shame because the circuit is really good. It's really brilliant.
Yeah, normally the circuit is really good, but it turned out this time round to be very bumpy and probably quite difficult for the cars to be set up for. Now, the bumps. Do you think the bumps were something to do with the fact that Vettel couldn't either get temperature in his tires, or maybe had a problem with his anti-roll bar, or
I think I mean, this is just my opinion because I have no idea, and I think nobody has an idea but a very few people. But I think that is they either started with a kind of a really tricky setup, or he had a problem from the start. Because it is true that he was complaining about oversteer, but oversteer can be induced also by some problem on the rear.
yeah.
And the fact that what was that, 4 or 5 laps? It just how many laps was there? Not too many,
Oh,
right?
not many at all.
Yeah.
From the lap one. From lap one, he was losing. I mean, Norris
No,
overtook
I
him.
meant when the rear suspension collapsed.
Oh, I
when
think it's
the-
about lap 9, maybe. Yeah.
yeah. So, but I think he had a problem, or they had a really weird setup that amplified that problem. It was really strange. I can't remember. I mean, it's been ages since we saw a failure of a component on on an F1 car during the
Well,
race.
well, yeah. Not ages, because some of the back
Well, it's been
teams.
quite.
But we haven't seen one on a Ferrari for
Yeah, especially I mean, I'm talking especially
a long
from a
time.
top team. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there was that. I think now I read that Ferrari run kind of a weird aero setup. So that might be the issue too. But I don't know. It was strange. Even Leclerc couldn't find his pace with the car. It was a very strange setup
Yeah.
that they
Well,
had.
I mean, that's one of the queries that I had, because if they were running a high downforce setup, why couldn't they get their tires up to temperature? That doesn't make sense.
I don't know. I really
So
don't know.
maybe if they couldn't get their tires up to temperature, because they weren't running a high downforce setup. In which case, where did their pace go? In which case, is that anything to do?
I know where you're going.
Is that anything to do with Ferrari maybe changing the fuel flow regulator? We don't know. We don't know. It's speculation. It's pure speculation.
I personally think that this whole angle is really stupid. But there are two things. The first one is that I think the whole angle is totally wrong. The second thing, I must applaud Verstappen for being so brave, because when you have the conviction of your ideas, you tell your idea to everybody, right? Instead of, for example, telling only that thing to the Dutch television, and then going to Sky UK, Sky Italy, and not mentioning whatever the fuck you just said at all. That was really brave. That is the cloth of a champion. Right
class
there.
of a champion. Yeah. Well, a future champion, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's a difficult one. I would imagine that Red Bull took a guess, and they remember that they had some problems with fuel flow, and that would be a good excuse to put some pressure on Ferrari politically.
So
and maybe that worked. Maybe it did put some pressure on them politically.
So can we just recap for a little bit what was the allegation that Red Bull said? So they have a sensor, right, which measures the flow of fuel. And mostly, I mean, all the sensors in the car, even if they measure things constantly, they have a filter, because you don't want measures to be strange. So the filter on the flow on the fuel flow, it's set to 1 Hertz. So it takes a measure every second. Red Bull claimed that, well, it didn't claim, because we got to be really specific. Ferrari has not been found to be illegal.
Nothing to do with Ferrari at all. What Red Bull said.
No.
Yeah.
So Red Bull asked to the FIA if you have an higher flow of fuel in between that second, that the measure is taken, if that's legal or not. And the FIA said it isn't. So what they were, the allegation was that Ferrari has some kind of sorcery, some kind of trickery, where they inject more fuel just after the measure has been taken and just before the second measure is been taken. So in that second,
Yeah.
which again, it is really bizarre because if that's the thing, you would expect that car to be having a higher fuel consumption.
Hmm.
And because of they run with a specific amount of fuel, that to me seems kind of it's kind of a tricky claim to make.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. Would the extra fuel flow offset the weight, or give you extra lap time to offset the weight? Is that what you're getting at?
No, what I'm getting at is that if you start with an X amount of liter of fuel, and all the
Hmm.
cars start with an X amount of liter of fuel,
Mm.
if there is one car which they use more fuel,
Mm.
they will end up. They will probably be really tough for them to end the race.
Yeah, I mean that's potentially the case, but of course,
Yes.
most of the cars under fuel in order to save weight, hoping for some kind of yellow flag or da 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 da
Yeah.
da da. And if they don't, they just turn the engine down and they don't use as much fuel.
Mm.
So it's not a huge issue that I don't think.
Well,
Um, because they could just top the car up to max fuel and go right. Well, we can use extra power if we want, so no worries.
Mm.
But again, this is all total speculation. Red Bull didn't say Ferrari are cheating. They just said,
oh no, yeah,
we got caught doing this once. This is the way I read it. We got caught doing this once. Let's put up some flack and see what happens, right?
yeah,
And it just so happens that Ferrari had a bad race, and people are putting 2 and 3 together and getting 4,
yes,
or
or 7,
or not 44.
or not 44. Yeah,
I should have said 5 actually. That would
yeah,
have been
yeah,
better.
right, or 16,
Or
yeah.
16. But
No, I think it's a dangerous move from Red Bull, because it is one
oh
thing to
yeah.
it is one thing to file a complaint,
Mhm.
but acting like that, I think it's kind of dangerous for the whole environment, because if
Yeah.
that's the route to go, like for example, Haas made. I think it was Haas which made a complaint towards Renault about the brakes or
Yeah.
some other. Yeah.
No, the brake bias. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was us, and they filed, they filed a complaint. That's how it should be. But that kind of, lateral thinking. Oh no, I'm not really telling that you are cheating. I'm just asking the guy that if you should do that. It makes for the whole environment not to be, really quiet. It's I
Genius.
think it might, I think it might be dangerous in the long run if that's the attitude. But
Yeah. Again, I thought it was a really clever move in terms of the politics in Formula One. They've got Verstappen to do it, right? So Red Bull haven't said anything. Verstappen said it. It's not like the higher ups in Red Bull went, "Oh yeah, we know what's going on and stuff."
no,
Just a driver saying that Ferrari are cheating. Nothing to do with the rest of the team. All
No,
the rest of the team did was go for clarification on what they can do.
yeah,
That's a
Oh,
damn
I see
clever
what you're saying.
move right there. It's a damn
Yeah.
clever move right there. It puts pressure politically on Ferrari. Okay, Ferrari happened to have had a bad race for various reasons, and so
So what you're telling me is basically, Red Bull is the guy which, I'm just asking an innocent question, and then you have Verstappen, which is the useful idiot and puts everything together.
exactly.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, exactly. And what are they going to say, right? So Ferrari come back and say, "Oh, your driver accused us of cheating." Well, he's just a driver, mate.
Right.
I mean, these are monkeys in a car. Remember what Niki Lauda said. These guys are just monkeys in a car.
Well, I think Leclerc told, with no uncertain terms, that what Verstappen said was bullshit. Well, I don't think he said bullshit, but said, well, he has no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Another comeback. He's a smart kid, that Leclerc.
Yeah. And he has that clean face that he can really say whatever the fuck he wants, because he has that, a nice guy, face. So no, I think he's I think he's full of shit. It didn't say that, but that's what they implied.
Yeah, and he's just the driver. It's not Ferrari saying
right.
So that he's just playing the same game back and going, well, fuck you, politics. We know this is politics, so get on with it.
Yeah.
So again, I thought it was a very clever move by Red Bull to do that, put pressure on the
Talking,
opponents.
talking about, sorry to interrupt you,
Mhm.
but because we want to make it quick, I'm afraid I'm going to forget this point. I think it was really interesting talking about drivers and getting back a little bit to Lewis, which won an amazing championship. There is no doubt about it.
How many?
6, well less than
6.
Schumacher. So
Yes, there we
yeah,
go.
still good. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, hey, man, come on! I got to find the silver lining there. Come on,
Mm.
So
I know what the silver lining is.
yeah, I still have 1 year, okay, and after 1 year, eventually they'll be even.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, it's hard, man. Come on, you
Indeed.
gotta cut me some slack. No, I think that I was really positively impressed by Sebastian Vettel going to Lewis and congratulating him in what it seemed to be a sincere way.
Yeah.
So that was a very good move. Sebastian is a I think is a very nice guy, and he really loves the sport. Regardless of what he can do. Every driver is a piece of shit. We know that, right? But I think they genuinely love the sport, and I think
Mm.
him congratulating to Lewis was, well, first of all, a very good move. And if you want to see a little bit of not conspiracy, but if you want to see some back thought about it, it was probably a way for Sebastian to say, yeah, I'm your major contender and I'm congratulating you. So
Yeah,
but
I agree. Class.
I
Okay.
don't think that was his first thought, to be fair.
Well,
So
yeah. I mean, again, he's probably rehearsed it for several races now. To be fair, but you're saying
you
all the
can't. Come on.
hang on a minute. You're basically saying all the drivers are a piece of shit, but
Yeah.
Sebastian's the floater.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
that's fair enough. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so we got that straight. Okay, yeah. So 6 world championships.
Holy
Lewis
fuck.
Hamilton. Oh,
Oh,
I'm
crap.
so happy. He's finally done it, and it kind of lets him off now for the next couple of races. It means we're going to see the old Lewis back, carefree, don't give a fuck. Valtteri will win both races.
You,
You know.
you're screaming as if you were surprised that you won the championship. I
No.
mean, I could have told you in August.
Well, you did tell me in August.
Yeah, by the
You did.
way.
Yeah. No,
So-
I'm not screaming. I'm doing a Murray Walker. That's all.
Oh, okay.
A Murray Walker.
Okay.
And there goes Lewis Hamilton, 6 times world championship. Yeah, I'm over the moon about it. I really am, because I'd love to see. I mean, when Schumacher did 7, as he did 6, I remember Schumacher doing 6, and I'm going, oh, he's fucking cheated again. I can't fucking believe this. No one's ever going to catch him, because he keeps trying to drive into people every time they get close to him.
Yeah.
This is crazy. No one's ever going to catch him. So I'm over the moon that I've lived to see somebody get close to catching Schumacher without driving people off the track. And I think that's hugely healthy for Formula One. Not that I've got anything against the cheating German Schumacher. Of course.
Shit.
Of
I
course.
mean, it still burns, right?
Oh, it burns so hard, man.
Jesus Christ! I mean, you're so salty. That
Oh,
burns
man, you
a
don't want to
lot.
know. It's like a red hot poker, except it's a car,
Wow.
and it's red, and it's hot,
Okay.
and it's a car. So it's like a red hot poker, except it's not a poker; it's a car.
I know what I'm gonna write here next time.
Okay,
I know what I'm gonna put there.
what?
Oh yeah, well you see.
Okay, that will be fun. That'll be something to look out for out there.
Yeah.
Anybody in the comments, if you can guess what it is, right? Then please write in the comments what you think he may write there, because I'd love to see those.
Yes.
And I'll do the same as well. I'll have a guess as well.
Mhm.
But okay, so yeah, I mean there was a lot of other good races, good drives through the field as well. Thank God Norris had a great little drive.
Oh yes. Oh, thank God. I'm with you there. That guy deserved that for a long time. So I'm really happy he did that.
Yeah. I think he was pretty chuffed after when he was talking about Lewis winning the title. You could say he says, "No, don't ask him about the 6th world championship. Ask him about my 7th place."
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing. I overtook Vettel. Can't believe it. Oh, look, my voice is breaking. You know.
Yeah.
So last race as a teenager, he did really fucking well. So I'm really pleased for that.
Yeah.
I honestly thought Verstappen did really well. He was a bit unlucky. I think he was unlucky not to get Hamilton, to be pretty frank. Maybe some strategies kind of went slightly awry. But like you said the week before, it was a cold race, so
Yeah.
there's always going to be these tire issues. And I don't
Oh
think
yeah, the
the
ties.
teams.
You almost forgot about it. Yeah, please go ahead. Ramble on. Yeah.
Oh, God, you
Yeah, please.
noticed.
Yeah.
So as you said the week before, it was going to be a cold race, and indeed it was a cold race, and this gave tire issues. So I don't think the teams got the maximum out of their tires. They weren't operating in the right windows, and so they didn't get the right distances that they thought they might. And this gave actually the race quite a little twist, in that we didn't know whether Bottas was going to catch Hamilton, let alone overtake him. Of course, he did, and that led me to think that Verstappen would also catch him. But obviously, Mercedes timed it extremely well for Lewis to keep second place. So again, I mean, when I say Lewis drove well, it was the Mercedes 1-2. And he is, in fact, 6 times world champion in Formula One. So
I think that Lewis tried to pull a stunt like Kimi Raikkonen did last year. Getting on the at the end of the race on the rims.
Yeah.
But apparently this year it was different. And I think you mentioned before, the condition of the track really bumpy. I mean, it was insane. The car were bouncing all over, especially the first corner and some other places. I think that didn't help the tire situation too.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah.
It was terrible. I mean, again, this is the double standards in Formula One. It's why we know it's more political than it is anything else. We stopped racing at Turkey because of the bumps. The track was too bumpy. That was the excuse given, so we can't race in Turkey anymore. Turkey was one of the best tracks on the circuit, and it was an incredible track. But it was bumpy. It was bumpy as fuck, and it was getting worse. So they just said, "Look, sort the bumps out, or we're not coming back." Will they do that in America? I do not think so.
Remind me again, who owns Liberty Media?
Somebody American, probably.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah.
I'm guessing it's the Americans.
Yeah.
And hopefully by next year they will have sorted it out a little bit. Although I can't see what they can do, because they purpose built this track to be up and down. They purposely built all the gradients in. So what do? I mean, you tear up the track, you pack a load more stuff down, pack it all down again, and then resurface the track again. How many millions is that going to cost?
Well, they have to resurface the track, but I think it was a problem with the preparation, because the bumps were in the braking zones, and that happens where the cars literally move the asphalt.
Yeah.
So I think just resurfacing all the track is going to be fine, and I don't think they should. I mean, it might be enough not to make the old circuit again, just in some areas. But yeah, I mean, it's.
I don't think they're going to do anything about it, to be honest with you, because they now, they started racing IndyCar there as well.
Yeah.
So there's other races in the year, so it means they can't shut the circuit down whenever they want, just for Formula One, And what they normally do in these situations is shut the circuit down, resurface just before the Formula One gets there.
Yeah.
So the Formula One get the first crack at fucking the track up.
Right.
And that's what happens, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then by the next year, it's all fucked up again, and away we go, starting the same old bitching. But we can't go back there like that. That's just terrible for Formula One cars.
But we all know that everything is going to change next year. We know better car. 21. Oh, it's going to be 18 rims, 18 inches.
2020, yeah.
20. So yeah. everything is going to change. I've read somebody, I can't remember who wrote it, that the car they're predicting they're going to be 3 seconds slower than this.
Right, I think you're talking the 2021 regulations. So we're still using the same
Mm.
package for next year, I think. So there aren't too many changes for next year. I think they might be changing the wheels next year, but I'm not certain.
I don't know. I can't remember.
And they don't have to use the parts, so the wings and stuff are going to be like this year. And it's just the year after that all of that changes and the cost cuts come in and all of that stuff. So we've got another year to go, I think.
So next year is when everybody is going to spend a gazillion amount of money because they will not be able to spend it anymore. And in 2021 is the year where all the top engineers will become marketing strategists, stuff like that. Because
yeah. And apparently they're restricting wind tunnel use, which is huge. But I mean, so I don't know what that means exactly. How are you going to do that? Well, okay, you're just going to build models, right? You know what I mean? They're just going to build it's like the Monty Python joke, right? Where the teacher goes into the classroom and he goes, so what are you building there? And he goes, oh, it's an icebreaker, sir. And you turn around and he's building the actual ship.
Yeah.
And he goes, you're supposed to build a model. And he goes, yes, sir, it's a 1-to-1 model.
Yeah. No, I think it's the wind tunnel thing. I think is kind of it's a very stupid move. I mean, it would have been way better if they said, okay, whoever has a wind tunnel has to give X amount of days to other teams. That would have been a move, because if you restrict the wind tunnel, what is going to happen is that if you have again a
problem.
A boat, no, like a metric tons of money you invest in computing power. So you can use model basically not to put the car in the wind tunnel, and you can get data from that, but that becomes another money race.
Yeah. Good point. Again, I have a feeling that's why Mercedes have done so well this year. Again, right at the back at the beginning, I said, oh look, they brought this second update. I think they've done it so they can check against the wind tunnel, right? They can check the CFD against the wind tunnel and know whether their upgrades are going to work. So
no, that's an excellent point. I mean, there is also the fact that it's always easier if you start from something which is already really good, and moving on it's simpler. It's not
simple. Yeah.
Anyway,
so that's great. Have I mentioned that Lewis Hamilton is 6 times world champion? Oh, fantastic!
Yeah,
British driver, the most winningest British driver ever. I might have mentioned that a few times.
Yeah, no, I don't think you said it before. How many times did you won World Championship? I forgot.
I think I said 6 times.
Okay. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, one less than Schumacher, and he hasn't cheated nearly as much.
Holy shit!
Well, come on, we all know he ran Damon Hill off the road. Everybody knows it.
I mean, that's how it's supposed to be driving those days. So you're telling me that you're complaining about what Senna did and Prost did?
Oh no, that was different.
And Mansell did.
No, Mansell never drove anyone off the road.
No, Mansell never did. Yeah, I'm sure he didn't.
I don't think he did. I can't remember. Who did he drive off the road? I can't remember that.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he did. I mean, would you really be surprised if he didn't?
I would be surprised if he did, actually.
Right? So,
I would be surprised if he drove someone off the road, because he was never that kind of driver. Back in those days, it was like people were still dying, So,
Well, yeah.
It wasn't like the Schumacher days when the cars were a bit stronger and they had crash zones and all this, like, reinforced kind of cockpits and all that stuff. But anyway, whatever. Whatever. I'm just thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled. He deserves it. He's a lovely lad. So there you go. Is there anybody to mention in the back of the field?
No, I said, Richard, I think, made a very good race. Us and Alphas are still, in the shitter. I'm sorry for Raikkonen. It was actually running a very good race, and then I don't know why they decided to stop it one more time. I don't know if it was without tires or what.
Mm.
So that basically ruined this race. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah. No, I think he just came in for a quick drink.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe,
He probably felt he left the party a little early, and he
yeah,
just wanted to pop back there
yeah.
and pick up. He forgot something at the party earlier,
Yeah,
so he just popped.
and no. Other than that, I mean, it was a quite a disaster for Ferrari. I mean, Leclerc had to change an engine, so it was running with an older. I think it was a Spec 2 engine. What happened to Vettel? We saw. The basically was a disastrous failure of the rear suspension, and also Leclerc had the pit stop did. I mean, honestly.
The pit
You
stop.
remember?
Oh,
Yeah, the
my
pit stop.
heart went out for him. Oh my god.
But
Yeah.
okay, there is. Let me try to find something good in all of this, because you remember
Good luck.
last time. Well, you remember last time when I said, that I'm watching the race and I'm thinking to myself, how Ferrari is going to fuck this up.
Yeah.
Well, okay. The good thing is that they didn't fuck it up, because the whole situation was fucked up already from the start. So I mean, that's the only good point I can make about
Yeah.
what happened.
Okay. They'd fucked it up before the race this time, which is a new thing. So
Listen,
there you go.
yeah, I
Entertaining
mean,
from that point of view. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, it's fair enough. At least they're not fucking up after the race. I
right.
mean, it could have been worse if they'd finished the race in 1-2 and then got called for fuel flow regulations or something. Yeah, maybe that'll happen next race. Who knows? Speaking of next race, because we're moving on quickly today, people, ladies and gentlemen, we've been going a half hour, so
It's
that's
Brazil.
okay.
Next race is Brazil.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
love that track.
Yes, I do as well. I used to more, and again, it used to be bumpy, but they changed the center S, I think, and that wasn't so good. And then what else have they changed on that track?
Apparently they changed the way that the car, the way they changed some exit, thing. Do you remember Raikkonen when he was driving with Lotus, trying to get back on the track and finding himself in front of a gate?
Yeah.
I said, "What? It wasn't here last year."
Yeah, they started building a bit more of a track on the end of it, and he decided to go for an Explorer. Again, he'd heard that there was a party down there.
Yeah.
A couple of Brazilian girls, and
you
that was
remember
it.
there was a pub at the end of it. Said, "Well, I'm going there for a beer," and
fuck this, yeah.
So
anyway,
yeah. I just hope that it's not going to rain, because apparently when it rains, that track is really miserable. It floats. I mean, I remember, what was it, last year, 2 years ago? It was.
I can't remember how many years ago, but I've seen rain there many times, and there's two places where a river literally starts and exit of the center S's, and I don't know, down the bottom, somewhere down the bottom. And it is bad. Oh, it is bad. However, I will say some of the best rain races or wet dry races have been at Brazil.
Yes.
Because the track does dry out pretty quick. It does drain fairly well. Apart from these two places, it drains pretty well. So you get some really interesting races.
That's something that Liberty Media should do. They should just by rule, they should randomly flood part of the tracks. Just with big trucks. Just they say, okay, that's a random one. They just spray, water in a part of the circuit, just to see what the fuck happens.
Yeah, but then we're just going back to Bernie. Bernie used to say this, didn't he? He goes,
really?
I don't know why we don't know. Yeah, Bernie suggested we should have sprinklers on tracks, because the Ferrari track has got that, hasn't it? The test track.
Yeah. In Fiorano,
Yeah, Fiorano. Fiorano.
It's not difficult.
Uranus.
It's where Schumacher used to try the car. The guy which won 7 World Championship. That's where he tested.
Yeah,
the car.
You say car. I'm thinking probably more of a boat at that time. But anyway, Bernie suggested that we should flood the tracks randomly from time to time, just to increase the spectacle. Another kind of let's do something stupid. Bernie's suggestion.
Now,
But there you
now
go.
I'm slightly worried that I had the same idea that Bernie had. I'm puzzled.
Yeah. At least he never had an idea to do 25 races a year, for fuck's sake.
Yeah,
Say what?
Jesus Christ. I mean, they're going to end the 1st
yeah.
of December.
Yeah, I mean, I can't sleep that much on a Sunday. If I sleep any more on a Sunday than I currently am by watching Formula One races, I'll just be asleep the whole fucking year. It's terrible.
Well, listen, man, I don't know you, but it's good for my skin because I get so much rest. My skin is like, a baby's ass.
Okay, well, we can afford to sleep now for
Yeah.
these next two races because Lewis Hamilton has become
Holy
6
shit.
times world champion, Formula One driver extraordinaire. God, in other words. We did ask the question earlier in the season: does God work for Mercedes? I think we've got our answer now. The answer is yes, he does, and it looks like he's resurrecting Lewis Hamilton every year to become world champion. So
Yeah.
I'm thrilled. Okay, thank you so much, Fabio. We're going to call it a night there, everybody. Yeah. Thank you so much. We'll just leave it with the FIA to find out whether Ferrari are or are not doing anything slightly political. And I'll say it that way. And just a big congratulations to everybody so far at Mercedes. Congratulations hugely on the fantastic year. And we're looking forward to next year and more of the same. And if we're not, that's because we're Fabio. Say ciao, Fabio.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Oh, wow.